Hello, Judith Glory, who is very honored and happy to be able to stream live today again and to follow up with our series on masterful coaching. We are in our week 5, guys. We're almost halfway through. And do you realize we've done like halfway? And I feel like really asking you, how are things going with your recording? How much progress with the recording? How are you doing? Yes, please let us know in the chat how you doing with the recording, because as we discuss um the game, the offer, the proposal is that by the end, um you have at least 2 good recordings that you can send to ICF to get your credential. Our aim is that in about 6 weeks, because you have 2 recordings or more, that you are ready to submit for your MCC credential, or at least that you are discussing with your mentor and peer to ensure it's good enough. So if we are halfway through the journey and it's like not good enough or more, if you've not started recording, I feel like saying, please stop the video and write down your strategy. What do you need? Like, take the time to reflect. What do I actually need? What is stopping me from doing the recordings? um our promise is that you finish in 6 weeks. You get the 2 recordings. We can share the strategy, the tactics, the tools, the framework. But if you don't sit and do the recordings and listen to them and get the feedback, there'll be nothing. So I'm really pushing and encouraging you. I don't know where you are with the recording, but please, in as much as possible, get to it, get started. And if you have started doing the recording, yeah, good job. I really want to appreciate you for doing that and ask you, what are you noticing as you're doing those recordings? What are you noticing? What are you learning about you? How is the process going? Are you becoming someone, a geek in recording, transcription, learning? What is happening? What do you notice in the process? Particularly, what is happening in you? This is something important, really a question I want to ask you. How much progress with your recording? No recording, you cannot submit your application for MCC credential. And for this series, we want to activate, we want to bring out, we want to tell the whole world this is a masterful coach. And for you to do that, you need to sit and do the recording, assess them, evaluate so that they are ready for your submission. So, how much progress with the recording? I really wanted to start the session today by talking about that, because our promise is that by the end, in about 7 weeks, you can have 2. And if you started since week 1, trying with the goal of like 1 or 2 recording, by now you have at least 2 or 3 that you've started evaluating, and maybe that you've received feedback from your mentor, from your peers, or other people in the same journey like you. If it is your case, good job, keep it going. In the process, you are noticing the things you do well, and you're noticing areas of your coaching that need some tweaking. Go, 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 go with the recording. That was my encouragement to start with. We are in week 5. And in this week, we will take the time to talk about core competency 4, which is the coach demonstrate, cultivates trust and safety. This is what we'll spend time talking about today. What is trust and safety? What does that sound like, particularly at MCC level? What are some of the behaviors that demonstrate trust and safety? And what are the ways that you can really demonstrate those behavior in your recording? As for all the other weeks, we will start by doing a quick recap, what you learned, making a link between that and what is happening this week. And then we'll have kind of a learning moment. What is trust? What does that look like? What are the elements that the evaluator is looking for? Then we will continue by looking at your reality. in your own reality now, what are the things you're doing to create that trust, to demonstrate that trust? And then we will close with actions to really improve your ability to demonstrate trust and safety. Let's dive right in because we have quite some material to cover. So last week we talked about creating agreement. The trust creates agreement. Agenda like looks so bulky. Last week, yeah, we talked about creating agreements, and we said that it is important, and that this is one of the key things that you really, I will be prescriptive about this. It doesn't is it's not jury to be prescriptive, but specifically for this one, I want to be prescriptive about it. I don't know any coach who passed their MCC credential who didn't do the agreement well. So last week we talked what is the agreement? What are some key elements that constitute the agreement? The clear topic, how you know and measure the outcome, checking throughout in a session, and facilitating growth. So we discussed the detail, and I proposed something that I thought could be of help, because the coach has to do this one thing. One key of the mastery is the coach does this naturally in the flow of the conversation. If you get the elements of the contract, the topic, the outcome, the demonstration, the measure, if you go and check it like a checklist, if you watched the last time you saw I did a lot of checklists, well, it's easy for them to say you're still at the PCT, you're trying to conform yourself to a checklist. A masterful coach is in the moment. He takes whatever the clients give them and runs with that. But there are some key elements still that the MCC evaluator wants to see in your recording. And the mastery resides in your ability to demonstrate those key elements without having the checklist, taking whatever the client gives you and using it to create that powerful agreement that you use throughout the coaching session. And we talked about the fact that the key, when you listen, oh, I want me to be present, but there's still some key elements. How do I demonstrate the key elements? If that's the mindset, it will be so painful because you will be in the conversation, but thinking about the key elements you need to have. We talked about the importance of trusting yourself, the client, and the process. We talked about presence. Have you noticed how these competencies are interrelated? We are saying that to create great agreement without looking your checklist or the framework you're using to ensure you have all components, just being present and following the client. Present, which is core competency, we'll be talking about next week. Core competency 5, presence. We also talked about the importance of, you know, you're here and you trust yourself, you trust the client, you trust the process. Trust, which is what we are talking about today. 3, 4, 5 are linked. Yes. That's the beauty with the core competencies. So last week I proposed something that I thought was a great tool, Stalkers by Claire Pedrick. um we said that Stalker framework could help because it had all the elements of the contract, plus it gave the microphone. It created a context, a container, as she calls it, that makes the conversation easy to flow. It allows you to give the mic to the client because the way it is built, hey, you collaborate, you partner with the client to hear what they want. How will they know? How will you measure? And where do they want to start? How do they even want to do the work? So everything, the agenda, how you will know the destination, some elements to measure the progress, and where they want to start, it all comes from the client or the thinker. And the way it is set up makes it beautiful to follow, because when they say, I think we should start by taking a cab, okay, you get on the cab. And as they're on the cab, what is happening? What are they seeing? What are they noticing? How are they feeling? What meaning with everything going on in the cab? And when they reach a point, whoa, what makes you see? What are you seeing here? What are you noticing? What are you understand? How far with the destination? Not there yet, maybe closer because the buildings, the tree, or whatever. And then you ask them again, so from where are we going? Have you noticed that you're part in this journey, but it is actually the client leading, saying, I want to go here, I want to take a cab, I'm seeing this happening, but we are not there yet. To get there, maybe we need to take a flight, a bus, a train. Oh, and while we are in the train, what are you seeing? Oh, what meaning with the nature? It's the client driven, and that's what will make you be a coach that's not doing leading coaching. It's the client giving you, like, they are actually driving, and you're there to support, you're there to, oh, okay, what else, where else, what learning. And that's the beautiful thing with masterful and when they say, oh, I see these trees, I see this, oh, what meaning, what interpretation, what insight. Oh, and they're learning things during the journey about them, about what they were preoccupied with, and they choose what they want to do with that meaning. Can we create an action? And since it is natural in the discussion, you don't have to wait till the end of the conversation to say, what did you? No, no, no. Oh, I'm seeing this on the tree as I'm on a cab, as I'm in the plane, I'm seeing this. Wow. What makes you notice that? What makes that important? What is coming up from you? What makes you, yeah, and what meaning to you? Hmm. Okay, that's the meaning. Wow. And you create space for them to talk, to make all the meaning they can make of what they've discovered. It is just so beautiful. I don't know how this illustration speaks to you, but this is mastery, guys. And have you noticed that in the process of in the cab, where are we, what next, what meaning, um the coach is not worried, hey, where are we, how much time, what's he doing? No, he trusts the client knows where they're going, the client knows best what the destination looks like, they know best what the trees, what the climate, whatever they see could mean to them. The client trusts the coach trusts the client. They also trust themselves that if a question, if a metaphor, if something needs to come up, it will emerge. And they trust the process. They engage, okay, the client said, I want to go to this place, and they follow, and they're just there to keep company and ensure the partner in the journey, the client, is getting what they need to continue the journey. You've heard me say they trust the client, they trust themselves, they trust the process. We are talking about trust. We are talking about trust, which is the core competency we're discussing today. So, what is actually trust? Maybe let's go back to slide. She just got carried away with the metaphor, but sometimes I feel like it speaks so clearly because it's like a core thing. It's not the client, the coach leading the client somewhere. The coach is walking like side by side. I just imagine kind of lovers going to take a walk, and you just did keeping company and helping the person to discover and enjoy the journey. So, what is trust? ICF says core competency for the coach cultivates. I really enjoy the verb they've selected, cultivates. It's like when you're cultivating flowers or plants, or if you've done any farming, you know that cultivate takes care. Um, so you are really intentional when we're talking cultivation. And the coach takes care, is intentional to create a safe and supportive space. He creates a space where the client feels honored, where he feels seen, where there's no judgment, where there's deep presence, like connection to who the client is. There's a lot of respect, empathy, and sincerity. These are some key elements that will help the client to feel I'm in a trustful place. I can be me. Sometimes I like to illustrate it by saying trust and safety is all about creating that space where whomever the client is, whatever he can bring, thinking, idea, judgment, belief, he knows they're welcome. He knows they're welcome. And again, there, sometimes I like to take the example when you are receiving people at home, or when you're meeting people for the first time. Sometimes, oh, it was so welcoming. I felt welcome. Why? Hands open. Hey, no matter, just give the clothes. Whatever the person brings, they are dirty, they're sweaty, they are smelly. Welcome. Just come and give the keys. And when you do that, people loosen up. People loosen up and they feel free. It's like you give them the permission to be themselves. That's what, as a coach, you do to create trust. And you will notice at the beginning of the coaching program, when you're working with a client, at the beginning in general, not sure yet. And when you start to say things like, this is a confidential space, whatever we say and do stays here, notice what happens with the client when you say that. Sometimes, especially clients that come maybe from a corporate thing, the HR has negotiated things, they are not sure. So is my manager gonna know? Is everything we're saying here, will you talk about it to my manager? But when you say no, completely confidential, just you and I know, sometimes you even hear the hey, people want to be free to be themselves. So things like, it's a confidential, it's safe, no judgment, nothing shared with no one. And you have that feeling, they start to feel I'm safe here. And when they, maybe there's hesitation, I could be George. Oh, actually, I didn't really prepare for the session today. When you ask what have you brought, or you ask a question and it's like, I don't know. Sometimes oh, I'm sorry, when trust is not there yet. Oh, I'm sorry. And how you respond to that will help to facilitate that trust or make them keep still tight. So all is well. Like, we don't need to. It's okay. You are human. It's fine. I'm so sorry. I didn't close my phone. Give me a minute. I'm just gonna put myself on silence. I thought I had done this before launching the live. I'm so sorry. And there's no one in the office who could do that for me. Yeah. So it is done. How you respond to that by it's okay, we don't need to know, it's fine. Notice how the client responds to that, like, you're not obliged to have all the answer. Or sometimes something is happening, they're getting vulnerable, and you validate them in the thing, the emotion, the fear, or whatever is going on, the tears. It's not like they can feel, okay, you're embarrassed. Oh, it's it's really tough to be empathy. We talked about that. Showing I understand. It's okay to be human. It's okay to not know. It's even okay to vent. When there's that unconditional, I think I'll use this more often. When there's that unconditional welcoming of the client, they will open up. They will open up. There are so many sessions where it's like, thank you, you allowed me to just, because you tell them it's okay. Oh, I didn't have this. It's fine. And then let's just move. Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't know. Sometimes people who are maybe new to their role, and maybe for them, coaching is like a place where they need to demonstrate and to perform. No need to perform here. This is a no judgment place. Whatever you bring. Oh, yeah, really. When you build this at the beginning and in coaching sessions, they start to understand, whatever I have, I can say it and it's okay. They will loosen up. So I feel like taking a little break here and asking you, what are you doing to allow your people to loosen up? What are the current strategies you're using? How are you showing up so that the person you have in front of you or next to you understands no matter what I can say, I can do, I can be. Because that permission that you give them will allow you to do deep exploration. They know that even if emotions come, they don't have to keep it tight. They just allow it out. They just allow it out. And one thing that I want to say is by how you yourself you are being. Do you dare to be vulnerable? Yes, I said vulnerable. Do you dare? When you do that, um, oh, I'm sorry, but I don't understand. Oh, oh, I don't know. This person acknowledges that I don't know, because you're comfortable saying I don't know, I don't understand. You give them the permission to say I don't know, I don't understand. So are you being vulnerable? That's why some people will say you cannot take someone to places you've not been. And that's where the work on you, the coach, is important. Are you accepting? Another good example, trust and safety. You create that by welcoming, acknowledging, and validating the client in their uniqueness. People are different. Like, it may happen that you coach people from different culture, different religious, different belief system than yours. And if you get into that conversation like, this person is very misogynist, you're not saying it, but if you're thinking it, they will feel it. They will feel it, just as when you carry negative emotion, people can feel the energy you're bringing in. And that's where the work has to be done with you. Are you accepting? Are you accepting as a coach? The more you accept, you're welcome. Everyone is whole, no matter their, I don't know, culture, religion, belief, or what. It's a beautiful human that has great qualities, and the space they have with you, the space you create for them, can allow them to see more this human, to see their patterns, to see how they function, and to see who they want to be, who they want to be, and helping them to go and fetch and bring out that beautiful human in them. So to come back to trust, I just got passionate. You can guess this is a topic that I have a lot of interest with. Yes, 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 I do. I deeply believe that each human being, no matter who they are unique and exceptional. And knowing the specific golden things they have, they can dig from who they are and bring that. And bringing up their best makes a difference in their world, in our world. And as coaches, allowing them to see the beautiful people they are and living up to that beautiful human they are, it's such a gift. It's such a gift. If we come back to ICF and the elements that they will use to judge, to measure, I don't like the verb judge a lot, to measure your ability to cultivate trust and safety. How does that show in the various at the various level? ACC, well, trust is judged based on your ability to create rapport and to listen actively to the client. At PCC, well, you see behaviors like acknowledging the client, celebrating them, um, really honoring who they are, respecting who they are. At MCC, a trademark for that is really the deep partnership, and like we are in this together and honoring, as I was describing a couple minutes ago, who the client is. There's a lot of respect. There's a lot of acknowledging, celebrating. Yes, and what I call yes and is the coach accepts everything that the coachee or the thinker brings: ideas, emotions, feelings, culture, context. There's no, no, because if you feel that, even if you don't say it, how can they think? at this level. Well, even if you don't say it, if you think it, they'll feel it in a way or another. So the MCC coach, he respects that. And when someone brings something from a different context, he doesn't try to move the client from that, say, system or cultural context to bring to his own system. No, he goes, the masterful coach goes with the client in that context. An example to help understand this is for let's imagine you're coaching someone in whose culture command control or is still kind of misogynistic. Um, and you're coaching them, and you can hear in the way they talk, in their approach, that okay, it's command control, that is the rule here. You may try to bring, which is, have you seen, try to bring is active, you're leading the coaching. And we say the masterful coach, he doesn't lead, he follows, like he adapts, he responds. It's not even your job to try to change the client. No, the masterful coach goes, follows the client in this system, in this culture, and in this context where command and control is the way to go. What meaning? Who do you want to be, depending on the topic on the table? So one way that will really cultivate trust is that even if the party brings something you're not familiar, is different from yours, you adapt and you follow, you work with them in their system. That's mastery. Respect, empathy, authenticity, vulnerability are some key elements that will help you really demonstrate that trust. One quick word that I like, a sentence rather, that I like to use to illustrate that is, you demonstrate trust by creating an environment, a space where at all times, the client feels like he is welcome. He, everything he brings to the table is accepted. Everything. I gave the image: sweaty, smelly, dirty, whatever. Welcome. Let's do something common. And that's, you do that by trusting, accepting, acknowledging, validating whatever they bring to the table. The next thing I want to talk about is to show exactly how trust sounds, PCC and MCC. This is particularly for you, MEK. You asked for it. So I hope it's useful, those slides that I'm adding for you. And one key difference is like the profound respect is something really deep. It's embodied even at the deeper level, because the MCC coach, he respects, he honors. How do you see that? It's the partnership. It's how you integrate the uniqueness of the client in the conversation. Another key thing is vulnerability and openness, which demonstrates trust. Vulnerability and openness. I said something like, being able to tell the client, I don't know, I'm not comfortable, not sure. The coach, ACC, like, he want to ensure I'm doing it well. PCC still try to ensure we're getting solutions. Um, Still trying to keep a good figure. At MCC, he doesn't care what the client thinks about them. It's not about them. So if there's something that's really bothering them, they'll bring it up. If they don't know, I don't know. And have you noticed, like, if you're comfortable telling the client, I don't know, hey, so I don't know, it's a valid answer. They will also tell you regarding this thing, I don't know. You open the door, vulnerability and openness. And one example sometimes that I like to say to illustrate this is the fact that, um, let's say you're in a coaching session, you've been talking, it's 30 minutes coaching session, and 10 minutes they've been saying a lot of things, but the clear thing they want to achieve through the coaching, you don't know yet. Um, The courage to say, really, may I give an observation? You ask the permission. We say the coach is not leading, the client is leading. May I make an observation? Yeah, I'm really feel I'm worried. You're authentic. What is going on? I'm really puzzled inside here because I really don't know yet what we are going for in the coaching session. You being authentic, or I don't know, I don't see, saying what is going on, being real to say there's some kind of frustration, there's some kind of anger, there's some kind of, as you are authentic with what is going on with you, with what you're noticing, you also give the permission to the client to do the same. So openness, vulnerability, and then allowing, even inviting the client to dig, to express deeply who they are. It's like the client feels seen in their uniqueness, which is a good thing that will favor trust and safety. Oh, you acknowledge they're special, they're unique in their belief, they're unique in their approach. Oh, wow. Yeah. So tell me more. Will it be useful? You are okay to go in those specificities of the client, in those things that make him unique, because he feels comfortable. You can delve deeper, you can cry, what is going on here. You can allow them to express themselves in all the ways possible. I want to see, okay, let's sit down. I want to, you acknowledge how they come. You giving them the permission to do that will make them trust you, and you make a great coaching session because you can go deeper. They are not holding back. Trust will allow the client to fully open, just as in organization, when there's trust and safety, they can create great things. Why? Because when you feel the real me can express and be okay, you say things, you think, you innovate, you dare to be courageous, you dare to challenge things, you dare to express yourself fully. And as a consequence, the team operates at full steam. It's the same thing with coaching. By you being willing to be real, saying, expressing, challenging, courageously saying whatever with all the respect will allow the client to do the same. Judith, I don't know, to vent. This is not going nowhere. And you will have a real but rich conversation that will be so beneficial to the client. So, how do you see that in a coaching session? What does that sound like? These are elements. These are behavior. How does that sound in a recording? Well, deep and reflective listening. This interruption. This is a big one. There are no interruption. You make space. As I have a friend who, when we were in this journey to get our MCC together, she was like, "Whew, seems like this thing is just silence, Judith." So far in the journey, I feel like, because when I bring my calls to my mentor, she's like, silence. So it's like MCC is silence, space. Yes, a trace, a mark, one of the signs of mastery is that you see space in the conversation. Space will allow the thinker or the client to process, to reflect. Space is a mark of trust. You trust the client. You trust that whatever needs to happen will happen. Um, yeah. And this is something I had to work to zip my mouth. I had to work to grow in this area because if you've worked closely with me, you know that problem solving is one of my superpower. Some people call me, oh, she's a computer of ideas. She always has something to say. Yeah, but not needed in well, I feel embarrassed to say not needed in the coaching conversation because we bring everything we are in the conversation. But The coaching space is the space for the client, the solutions, the ideas of the client. Like he is the one to shine. And even if you have a lot of ideas, yeah, maybe ask the permission and as less as possible if we start talking mastery, because mastery is your ability to create that environment so that the client will come up with his own solution, will hear, notice, observe how he functions, will learn and observe what matters to him. Have you noticed there's a lot of him? It's about the client. It's about the client. And this is also why it is so beautiful to listen to your recording, because just after this call, if you have some recording, listen to them and notice space, silence. How much of that are you doing in your recording? To be completely honest, um when you are in the mindset that, oh, coaching session, I want to provide value, I want to provide value, but if in your I want to provide value I comes from me, you are in trouble. I want to provide value by creating the space so that the client find a solution, their meaning, their learning, their when the mindset is I need to provide value, which was my case when I started preparing for this, um I will do what I call today polluting the canal. I have ideas, yeah, I will allow the client. I was not interrupting, no. But while he's talking, I also have this good idea that's emerged. I can't wait for him to finish to speak. Did you hear what I say? I can't wait. It's like, yeah, go through. And I have this. It's not about you. I have this beautiful thing I also want to say. No, it's the client. Are they even interested? How is it helping them move forward? So in this eagerness, there's also this beautiful, this great idea. And that's why sometimes you will hear PCC level coaches are like, I don't understand this ICF with this thing about mastery. Because if you have great ideas that can help the client, why not? Oh, they are your ideas. They are your ideas. And this is what will create some kind of dependency where coach clients come to you for your ideas. It's more, and with time it can develop like some kind of consulting. I've said many times you can be a coach and a consultant, but don't mix the two. When you're doing coaching, you're creating the space for them to a space of co-creation so that something comes, and more like allow them to be, you allow them to realize they are brilliant, they have ideas, oh, and that they're great, and that this is important to them, and that this is how they function, and that these are the key things that matter to them. You're creating this beautiful space where they learn where they become aware about what matters to them, what is good to them, and what they want to do about that. But if you come with, yeah, this idea, he said, and he created this, yeah, but sometimes the idea is generated while you're thinking about it, he has moved forward, he has gone, he's somewhere else. Because you're still in your idea that you can't wait to share, you've lost them. Miss opportunity. You've lost them. You are not present. Um, and that's why as you trust the process, you let go like your desire to shine, to bring your idea, to show, provide value at MCC level. You have nothing to show. You have nothing to show. You just have to create that space for them to show whatever they want to show, to discover what they want to discover. It's not really about you. So, how does it sound? Space to when a call is really spacious, where you can see it's like the coach is almost in the background. You don't hear them. They allow the thinker to think, to process, to go through their reflection, and they are not eager to step in to ask the next question. No. When the space is created like that, it's kind of a space of reflection. They reflect, they get idea, and it builds. You can see the progress if you listen. If you listen, if you're not eager to demonstrate, I can answer, I can see this. You can see the progress. So that's one thing. Their ability to, the ability of the coach to really allow deep, reflective listening. And another key thing I wanted to add here was the fact that the exploration is led by the client. Yeah, silence. We just talked about that. Client led exploration. I want to elaborate more on that because um well, I just talked about that. It's not like the coach leading, okay, let's go now. And then, okay, what do you think about this? If it's like you leading the conversation, he will wait for you to give the direction. Where else? What else? What's the next place? But when it's the client leading the exploration, I think in the illustration I took at the beginning, Judith, I want to go to this place. Yeah. What makes that place important? What do you hope to get there? What do you think we need to do to get there? What way shall we take? What transportation? How will we know we have arrived there? Where do we start? Have you noticed these are elements of the stalkers that we talked about last week? And as the clients start to talk, yeah, I think let's take a cab. Okay. So you're in the cab and I'm in the cab. This is what I'm seeing. What is going on? How are you feeling? What are you noticing? Any learning? Seems like the way could be far. Any meaning for you? Yeah, I thought it would be, or I think I should be, or I could feel your, they are talking. They are describing what they see. They are processing the journey, and they are learning things, and from the learning they are crafting actions if they want to do something different, if they want to build system to crystallize anything that they've discovered. But the client leads, I'm seeing this. Yeah, oh, I'm loving this place. What's loving about that? Yeah, it can make me, I feel I can have the impact. Wow, excellent. If you have the impact, have you noticed that the coach is there like to just help him capitalize on whatever is going on? But the real person going, describing, analyzing the journey, it's the client. So another trait of trust is really that client led exploration. Lou, now I feel like saying if you have couple recordings ready, we said silence, we said client led exploration, we said honoring the client in their uniqueness, in their context, in their specific systems. What are you noticing in your own recording? Are you seeing that space? Are you seeing that silence? Are you seeing that the client is leading? This is a big one. If you want to pass that MCC, let the client lead. Let the client take the lead. Give him the mic. Put them on the platform. Let them make sense. Let them do the exploration. Let them tell you what is going on and where they want to go next, what they want to do about that. Let them do the leading. And as you're listening to your recording, how are you responding to what is coming up? Are you acknowledging? Are you validating the client with your ideas, with your feelings? Sometimes people are reluctant to share things. And this is where we said a couple weeks ago this thing about the antenna presence, being really connected to the client, not thinking about your tools, the next question, or the ideas or your strengths, just being there with them. What is happening as you're connected to them? Sometimes you may feel that there is more. to feel that and to guess that there's more to what you're saying, you really need to be connected to the client. So as you if you can feel some embarrassment to share, or they say something and then and they clearly says embarrassment, how do you respond to that? What do you say to make them feel it's okay? There's no reason to feel embarrassed. It's okay. Whatever is going on, it's fine. We don't have to figure out. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know it all. You don't even like what question, remark, or comment you make to make them feel it's okay. Yeah, I hear that. Oh, it's normal to feel that. It's so human too. When you say those things, if you find traces of those things in your recording, good job. You're making the client feel it's okay. I can open up. I'm safe here. It's correct to be me. So these are some things that the evaluator will listen in your recording. I'm seeing that time has flown away. We have like about 10 minutes to go. So I want to invite us to go into what I will call the reflective place, where I want you to think about your own your own coaching. And again, if you have recordings, I want to invite you to just reflect. What are you currently doing to create um trust and safety? What are you intentionally? We talked about the fact that cultivate is an active verb. You don't just and then cultivation happens. No, you need to dig the ground. I'm a farmer's daughter, so you need to dig the ground. You need to put the grain. So whatever you're cultivating, you need to nurture. You need to put some product to encourage growth. You need to water the plant. So what are you doing to cultivate, to nurture, to take care um, of trust in the conversation? As you're reflecting on that, when you're listening to your recording, what are you seeing? Are there some evidence showing that, okay, you create a trust place? Are people speaking up? Are people sharing embarrassing things? These are evidence. Uh, Trust when people laugh, where there's some kind of rapport, and it's like there's some kind of it's the word in French coming complicité. It's like, oh, these people are really, they're close. They can laugh each other. They can. Are there some elements like that in your recording? They show trust. They show trust. Are you respecting? Are you following the client in their uniqueness? Are you acknowledging who they are, even the painful things? Are you acknowledging even their negative emotions? It's okay. Validate. Make them feel validated. It's okay. Listen to your recording and note what you are doing. If there are these elements, how can you continue to do more of that? What could help you be in that posture in each of your call? Hey, just imagine the beautiful gift you will make to people when they know, when you create for them a space where they feel seen, they are important, and no matter what they show, they are loved and appreciated and welcome. It's such a gift. It's such a gift, guys, and we as coaches can offer that to each of our coaching. So listen to your recording. What do you see? Personally, I was great at acknowledging, validating. I really love this core competency. It's one which where for all the recordings I submitted for my MCC, I always had trust and safety great. But as I listened to my recording to grow, one area where I had to develop was the silence thing, space silence. I was polluting the canal. So even though there was a lot of acknowledgement, celebration, it's okay, blah blah blah. One area that I had to work on, and to be completely honest, I have to continue to work on that. because when I have this coaching agreements where clearly the person who signed the agreement, we want value, and there are times when, and sometimes I can get passionate about what is going on with the client, and I think, oh, this idea, so I need to really hold back. Zip, Judith, is not a consulting time. Zip, Judith, is not a time to show you could have these great ideas. Zip and allow the client to go through their reflection. It's not that as a coach you cannot offer something. We say co-creation, but the focus, the highlight, the cameras should be given to the coachee, to the thinker first, because as you give them the mic, you give the space, they think, they process, and a lot come up from that processing when you just stay silent and allow them give the space. That's one thing I had to work on. So, as you listen to your recording, what are some things that you could do if you notice you're already great at creating space, silent, allowing the client to really process? I love this little thing that Claire Pedrick offered. Like, before you want to ask the question, give yourself a little 30 seconds again. Maybe within that 30 seconds, the client will ask something, giving you all some things. Another thing that she offered was like, when there's huge silence, make this decision that you will not be the one to break the silence. It can be weird if the silence is very long, um but as you really take the time and get to develop the habit to allow space for the client to think through until they tell, yeah, Judy, they're like, yeah, that's what I had. Okay. So they finished their processing. Now you can come in. Space, silence, empathy, validation, no judgment, everything and anything that the client comes up with, words, thinking, ideas, beliefs, culture, it's a yes and. Yes, and it's you accept, you welcome whatever they bring. It's excellent. If you're already doing that, good. If you are not, what is one thing that you want to add in as your coaching, in your coaching conversation, um to convey this message to the client? You're welcome and everything is welcome. Your ideas, your thinking, your emotions, your perfume, your odor, your everything is welcome. We mentioned some key things: space, silence, deep respect for the uniqueness of the client, validation, empathy, understanding, authenticity, being real, how being vulnerable and open. These are some key things you can. What do you see that? Do you see that in your recording? You see, it's time for me again to talk about the importance of recording. I'm saying, listen, see that in your recording. I will insist again, in your recording, not the package of recording that you've purchased to learn from. If you listen to those, listen and notice what the coaches do in those recordings to create that space, to demonstrate that trust. You know by now, because I've said it almost in each session, that your assessment is the timestamp, the time code, the evidence. It's your assessment. The evidence is your assessment. So if you think in your heart, well, I think I was trustful, I think I was present, as I did. No, I don't understand why they say I wasn't present. I was present, I was there. But looking at the recording, there were not a lot of evidence of presence. Judith was talking too much. Judith had a lot of ideas she wanted to push on the client, not getting silence to hear or building on what they say, or picking up on emotions, picking up on what the client is not saying, but that is showing in how they're behaving. So, what evidence are you having in your recording that show trust and safety? Do you see silence? Do you see space? Do you see vulnerability? Do you see respect of identity? Do you see validating? Do you see empathy? Do you see understanding? Do you see celebration of the others? These are some things you can listen for in your recording. Just a couple more minutes to go, and I wanna announce what is coming up next week. Next week, we'll be talking about presence. Have you seen how beautifully these core competencies integrate each other? We will be talking about core competency 5, presence. What is presence? Um, what does that actually mean in the coaching conversation? How does that sound in a recording? Particularly, how can you demonstrate that in your recording that you're preparing for ICF submission? That's what is coming up next week. Before going, a quick reminder of the key actions for this week. 3 things I really want you to do. One, do the recording. It's like the key thing, the key song, the key, I want to say again, recording. Recording. So if I'm quickly going through slides, I want to ensure that the key things to do this week. Well, it's not showing well, so I'll just talk it out. 3 things. Number 1, record, do even more recordings. As I said at the beginning, we will be in week 6 next week, so we've done halfway, and we promised 2 good ones. How many good ones do you have? We hope at least 1. And to have a good one, you need to do many recordings, except if you're already an expert and each call, it's a good one. To know, you need to do it and listen and assess and pass it through your mentor to also have the feedback and green light to submit. So as many recordings as you are, go for them, please. Record. Next thing, number 2, is as you do the recording, as you listen, what key elements of trust are you already embodying in the conversation? What evidence of trust do you have? It's simple like that, Judith. What evidence of trust do you see in your recording? And what can you do to continue to do that in each to do that again, to do more of that in your coaching conversation? And if there are things that are lacking, what are there, and what one strategy, what one thing are you willing to try to demonstrate that? I'm thinking something simple like, what can you do to give more space for your thinker? We say space, no lack of interruptions, vulnerability, openness, honoring, and you see that with the partnering, respecting, following the client where they are, empathy, celebration, acknowledging, and validating the client. Which one of these do you have evidence of in your recording? Choose one thing to work on. And then lastly, those recordings that you have, hey, go and get the feedback from your peers. Go and get the feedback from your mentor, because you're not doing this alone. Go and get the feedback, and that's how you may think it's good. Many times I did recordings that I thought they were good enough, but another pair of eyes and ears, I didn't actually see it through these lenses. And you don't know who would be the eyes or lenses that will evaluate your performance. So as many people as you can get the feedback from, the better. These are the 3 things: record, choose one strategy to implement to demonstrate more of the behaviors we talked about, and then ask the feedback on your recording. Judy, time to go. They're pushing you out of the studio. I hope it was useful. I would like to hear from you. You can always put the comments in the chat. Feel free to reach out, to comment, to shout out, to share to anyone who might need it. If you like it, it'll be a pleasure meeting you back next week, same time, 12 Eastern Time in English or 10 in French. It was a pleasure and looking forward to hear how you're doing with your recording so that we can celebrate in week 12 the 2 recordings you'll have ready for your submission. Until then, take care. All the best for the rest of your week. Bye.